don't do the all or nothing. I've shared this with you guys before. Even if you can do 15 minutes a day, do 15 minutes a day.
No.
But if you kind of like leave everything and then kind of just do a whole lot, it indicates an all or nothing pattern that's
Yeah.
going on inside. It's much more profound if you were to do 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day and to really book it in your calendar. So it's like an appointment. Sometimes when it comes to a job, we commit more for someone else's dreams, right? Someone else's structure, which is really, really interesting. And then we kind of put ourselves last, which is often a reflection. Like you think of like the schooling system, university, right from primary school, basically, we're in these structures where we have to ask permission to get time. We have to ask permission to go to the toilet. We have to ask permission to go to lunch. And, we have to give all of this time typically for someone else to only get a little bit. Even like, the working cycle, the job working cycle, which is you've got to work 40 years, then to get a little bit of time in your retirement. Like, how crazy is that? Or you've got to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day to then get 2 days of time. That is kind of been ingrained and installed. And what I'm all about, obviously, is total freedom, is to flip it, that we
Yes.
kind of work 2 or 3 days and then we get all of this free time to be able to live and experience and unlock our talents and all of those things. That's kind of what I'm all about. And so it blows me away from a business point of view where someone will be like, oh, I'll go and work for someone else's dream. I'll commit to them. I'll show up on time. But then when it comes to their thing, oh, then they procrastinate and then they don't execute. I'm like, when I launched my business, I was like working till 3 a.m. So like we all have the same amount of time. It's like get up early. I'm up
Yes.
at 4:30, 4 a.m. a lot of the time, 5 a.m. I'm straight away, I'm down on my bike, or moving depending on the day, and I'm listening to my mentors' podcasts and all of that type of stuff. I'm doing that at 4 a.m. in the morning. Do I
Mm.
have to? No, I want to. So we all have the same amount of time. It's what you do with that time that's most important. And half the time it's a scheduling issue
Yeah.
where we're putting everyone else first instead of going, no, let's schedule us and put us first, even if it is a little bit earlier. Isn't that interesting, right? When you think about it, it's like
Mm.
the whole system right through all the way to the job. You have to ask permission to go to the toilet. You have to ask permission to have lunch. You have to ask permission to have holidays. Even though you've been working, you can't take the holidays when you want to take it. It has to be within that time frame. So, like, we need to flip the switch on this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
10 minutes a day compounds, guys.
Yeah.
It literally compounds into momentum. But if you do the all or nothing thing, you'll get overwhelmed, you'll get confused, it'll be too hard. And what happens is what's called the law of diminishing intent. The longer you leave something, the less the intention there is to do it. And
Yeah.
so if you can just be doing like, working out what are the things that move the needle and then really conditioning that, like things that move the needle, obviously, is getting in front of people, connecting with people, promoting your services, getting them breakthroughs, all of those types of things. Also, just another thing around calendar that works really well for me is that I always look at a future outcome. And so I will look at, say, like 2025, and I'll go, what would be a 10 out of 10 year? Like, what would be incredible? And
Mm.
so it might be, okay, I want a couple of international trips. I want to be able to go on these experiences. And this is where a bucket list is really awesome because you can put a bucket list activity every quarter in there as well. How much time do I want for my health? How much time do I want for my relationships? And so what you can do, and this is what I really recommend, is getting a calendar, like a 12-month calendar, whether it be Google or a wall calendar, whatever it is, you put your life in first. Like what would be a 10 out of 10 life outside of business? What would be a 10 out of 10 life? What do I want to experience? Do I want a morning ritual? Put the morning ritual in. Date nights every single week, all of that type of stuff. This is what we do. And and then I like to kind of systematize or outsource all of the stuff that we really don't need to be doing. We don't need to be cleaning. We don't need to be cooking. We don't need to be doing any of that stuff. That's why we built Chef Steph, is so that our food is delivered. We've got an on-call babysitter now. I was doing mentoring, corporate mentoring with Mind Champs and got the best babysitter that's university trained. She's now on call for us. We use her whenever we want. If we want to go away, she travels with us. Yeah, it's awesome. We've set up everything that we need. Even with from a business point of view, I'm only doing the things that I really enjoy doing and organized and systematized everything else. And so you want to put your life in first, because if you don't put your life in first, your business will take everything. So you put your life in first and plonk the business on top. And the business needs to adapt. And ideally, we use the business to expand your life. So like what I love about Troublemakers business breakout program is that I get to eat at our restaurant with a group of amazing people. And then I get to go out into on adventures to all of these different places in Sydney and eat at really amazing restaurants, go to really amazing bars, all of that type of stuff with a group of amazing people and sharing incredible stuff that moves the needle. Like that is set up because that's what I want to do. It's now a tax deductible experience to eat at the best restaurants in Sydney. So you want a business that will expand your life and expand that bucket list and expand your time and all of those types of things. So that's a really good idea because we are talking about calendar and time allocation. Put you first. Put your self-care in. Put your relationship time in. Put your adventures in, bucket list. Put the travel, the places that you've always wanted to go to. Book it in. Book the time in, and then plonk the business on top.